Hey there and welcome back to Sims Sunday. My name is Pete and as usual this is the series where we try to complete The Sims 3. I am back from holiday and we can start this episode off with a surprise. For the very first time in this series we are being visited by a burglar. Good thing though that Ayesha has the brave trait and will promptly take care of him.
Watching daughter!
Alright, the burglar is settling for the escape and we can find the stolen exercise machine in the family inventory. In there we can also find a small plant and a poster, don't ask me how they got there, but we can put them between the exercise machines and then send everybody back to sleep. This also serves as a nice reminder why the brave trait is extremely valuable early on, and I just put an alarm system on the list of things to buy once Ayesha dies. Now, a few hours later, Pete is well rested and starting his day, and we will continue in the spirit of the last episode and try to break stuff. And as Ayesha gets up an hour later, we get reminded that it's almost her birthday, so both Pete and Ayesha will soon be in their final life stages. Ayesha will start her day with a quick meal breakfast, and then we can hear Patrick, the newest member of the complete household, cry in the background, so let's have Father Pete take care of that. The snuggling interaction fulfills a wish for Pete. Then he can give Patrick the bottle. And Patrick's older brother Paul is also awake and will start painting outside. While Ayesha is playing with her son, Pete makes his way to the library to further increase his logic skill. And we can see that we also just received something in the mail. Before we take a closer look, Ayesha will put Patrick back in the crib and then get back to work outside on the sinks. And thanks to his early morning painting efforts, Paul reaches level 6 in the painting skill. That also fulfills a wish and grants him 1000 lifetime happiness points, just enough for us to go to the lifetime rewards tab and grab Observant. Paul should get to know his classmates a bit better, we're talking about potential candidates for marriage here, and Observant will make that a bit easier. While Ayesha is still busy washing her hands, we get an opportunity that we received in the last episode for Pete as well. Work as a bouncer at the theater for some easy cash. I think that is acceptable. And while Ayesha rushes off to complete that opportunity, Paul finishes his painting. With a value of 46 simoleons, we can quickly sell that. And then start the outfit makeover for Paul. Alright, our aspiring illustrious author is now wearing a bit less casual clothing. After all, art is a serious business. I have also changed his formal outfit, but no tie just yet. He is still a teenager and we don't want to go overboard. Probably the most anticipated moment, I have finally changed his sleepwear. If you feel like that's too bland, let me know in the comments and I'll change it again. I have assigned him a somewhat pleasantly looking athletic outfit, although I doubt we will see him wear that. And lastly, his swimwear, and you can see Paul has pretty good genes, at least his upper body is looking a lot like his father's. In his new and much less disturbing pajama, Paul will now start another children's book. And since Pop Goes the Schmumpkin is already taken, how about Pop Goes the Schmumpkin 2? We get the info that Pete has just increased his logic skill to level 9. Only one more to go, but we won't tackle that today. Instead, let's have him put away the book and take care of Patrick's dirty diapers back at home. After a quick snuggle with Patrick, Pete will also focus his attention on the sinks outside, while Paul can grab a bite to eat. And we can already see the sinks are getting dirty, so if it's true that this increases their chance at breaking, we're on a good way. After his, well, it was his first meal of the day, so probably breakfast, Paul will now join his father at the sinks, and let's see if with combined effort they can get one or two of them to break. In the meantime, Ayesha finishes her opportunity at the theater, she gets 500 simoleons for her efforts, and can now go back home and grab the mail. We receive a few cut gems that we can add to the display on the garden, and then Ayesha can take her turn with the sinks while Paul continues to write. After sink number 8 of 8 has withstood our efforts, we can send Ayesha back inside. If you're wondering where Pete is, he's back over at the library, and Ayesha can feed Paul, play with him, and then get back to work. It is now the early evening and Paul has finished his children's book. This improves his writing skill to level 6 and fulfills a wish, and we can also note he has once again written a bestseller. With one more book out of the way, no time to waste, let's get back to painting. Now, for the past few hours, Ayesha has tirelessly moved up and down the rows of sinks, however, so far without success. Now we have to focus our attention back to Patrick, who needs both a fresh diaper and some maternal attention. With all of that taken care of, however, well, there is really only one thing we can do. Just a few moments later, Paul finishes another painting, this one already valued at 73 simoleons. Obviously, we want to sell that again, and then Paul can start another book, this time a drama novel. We don't want him to write only children's books, because there is a skill challenge associated with writing a special type of book. Once a sim has written 5 books of the same genre, he will be much more successful in that particular genre, and of course we want to save that for the book types with very high royalties. Over at the library, Pete is on a good way to logic level 10, however it is getting late and he is getting tired, so it's time to end the learning session for today and head back home. While Pete arrives and goes to sleep, Paul grabs a quick meal from the fridge. We can also schedule a shower for him and tell him to go to bed after that, and then we can see Ayesha, who's also going to bed now. Meal and shower are taken care of for Paul. I have squeezed in a few interactions with his little brother, as Patrick should be fed before everyone goes to sleep, and Paul will gladly obey. After a quick snuggle on top, the day for Paul comes to an end as well. Let's wish him a good night and see him tomorrow. Welcome back, it's the next morning, and we start the day with Pete, who can get up and take a shower. While just a few moments later, Ayesha gets up and grabs her phone. It is Patrick's birthday today, so let's invite a few people. Since it is Sunday, we can set the start time to relatively early, and then invite a lot of children and teenagers, so largely Paul's circle of friends, as we want a few more targets around for Ayesha's tutoring session. While Ayesha then grabs breakfast, we can quickly buy a birthday cake and then have Pete take care of his youngest son.
Oh, Tubi, Vienika?
Now Ayesha leaves for the sinks and Pete can grab a bite to eat. And while the mail is being delivered, Paul has made his way out of bed as well, and he will start his day with a painting. After breakfast, Pete can now change Patrick's dirty diaper and then go outside and start his shift with the sinks, while a disgusted Ayesha grabs the mail. We receive a copy of the book that Paul has written yesterday, and with nothing better to do for the next hour until the party starts, we can have Ayesha to repeat in the logic skill. Alright, the first guests for Patrick's birthday party have arrived, so Ayesha can now switch her attention over to one of them for some tutoring, while Pete gets back to work on the sinks, and Paul can feed his little brother. Then we get just a tiny amount under 1,000 simoleons in royalties, so Paul is starting to make a decent living as an author, and then we can have a birthday party. Alright, congratulations and happy birthday, Patrick. He is now a toddler. We have no traits to select this time, but he will of course need to learn the basic skills of life. And maybe you have noticed that we actually aged up Patrick early. He could have had one more day as a baby, but I find the baby life stage pretty much useless, so I took the liberty and accelerated his aging process a tiny bit. With everyone eating cake and lots of confusion inside, I think it's a good idea to get as many people out of the way, so let's have Paul paint outside, Pete can hopefully further damage the sinks, and Ayesha can hopefully continue her tutoring efforts. Alright, Paul has finished his painting already. Of course, we can once again sell that. He is steadily increasing the value of his paintings, this time 87 simoleons. Then he can quickly do a bit of cleanup and then continue to write. In the meantime, Ayesha joins Pete at the sinks. Not for long, however, because once he's done with his row, Pete goes back inside and we can quickly switch over to the Lifetime Rewards tab. Pete has enough points to purchase one of the most special rewards, and that is the Collection Helper. We of course don't want that for Pete himself, but for Ayesha. So it's a good thing the reward comes in the form of an item that we can freely transfer from one sim to another. And now begins the phase of extensive training for Patrick, his first lesson, potty training. A quick look at the world map with Ayesha. We can now see that gems and rocks are marked with blue bubbles, which makes finding them a whole lot easier. So while Pete puts Patrick back in the crib, then goes on to empty the potty chair, Ayesha has made her way to the beach and begins another round of collecting. Paul can stay home and take care of his brother, which allows Pete to go back to the library and learn the last remaining secrets of the logic skill. Ayesha's collection spree has led her all the way over to the graveyard, where she can not only find one more gem, but also pick a death flower. With both Pete and Ayesha growing older and older, it might be a good idea to have insurance once Death himself comes over, and a death flower can do just that. I will probably transfer that over to Pete, but you never know who might be able to use it. Ayesha makes her way home, and there we can see a very busy Paul, who has however amassed a decent amount of stress while writing. We can keep him sitting right where he's at, and switch from writing to computer games to get the fun bar back up. Ayesha has arrived back home now, and will now send a plethora of gems away to be cut. Once she has also analyzed all the space rocks she found, we can send Pete back outside to start painting, his fun meter has filled again. And then we have one more go at the sinks with Ayesha. However, we need to quickly interrupt that because Patrick needs some food, so while he's eating, Ayesha can get back to work. Over at the library, Pete has once again not made it to level 10 in the logic skill, and it is getting quite late, so let's not rush him all too much and send him home. And back home, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Ayesha has finally managed to break one of the 8 sinks outside. We will leave that one be until all the other ones are broken as well, and then Pete can repair them in bulk. A bit later, everyone is back home. Pete will go straight to bed. Paul can grab something to eat. Ayesha can put Patrick back in his crib. And then everyone can go to sleep and we can make a cut. Now, with 4 members in our household that require constant attention, I am excited to see where this series is going. However, that's enough for today. So let me say thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Cheers.